So welcome. So welcome to this free Cultural Emergence collective workshop, which is, I know some of you are already part of the collective, and that's amazing. And then hopefully some of you will want to be joining by the time we finish this call. We're excited to welcome more people in, people that we know and people that we're yet to meet, which is very exciting. So I am Luby McNamara and I'm calling in from Herefordshire in the UK at Applewood Permaculture Centre. And yeah, if you'd like to put in the chat where you're calling in from and something you're grateful for as well. And I'm grateful for dancing and music and song and how that has a opportunity to bring energy, shift energy, connect, and uplift us. There's music, I think, for every mood. So I'm grateful for music this morning. And I'm going to be hosting the call with Emma and Barbara. So, Emma, would you like to go introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Emma. I'm part of the Cultural Emergence project. I work with Libby and Barbara. I work for Applewood Permaculture Centre as well, which is Libby's and Chris's, and I'm part of the Cultural Emergence collective as well. And today I'm calling in from Herefordshire as well, up the road from Libby, and I'm really grateful this morning for driving back from the garage in the car in time for the call. But also, as I was driving along, a buzzard flew in across the road really low and then flew alongside the hedge next to me. So I could drive, I was in the 30-mile bit, could drive alongside it and just really see carefully how it was flying. It was just one of those moments you're like, oh, I was annoyed I was late. Now I'm grateful that I'm there with the car. So, and seeing the buzzard. So yeah, that's me today. And Barbara, who's also here hosting the call, I'll pass over to you.
Yes, hi, I'm Barbara Scheltus. I live in the heart of Croatia, where I saw three buzzards this morning. I was actually looking for the snow owl who I saw a few years ago. It was so amazing. I thought, is this a snow owl? And I stopped, and it was just sitting there on the pole, and I made pictures of it. And now I'm trying to see it again, but it were only three buzzards. Ah, on a just a 5 kilometer drive, so boring. And a deer on the three deer on the way to school for my daughter, and one deer on the way back. So lots of nature happening here. Grateful to see this all.
That sounds
Yeah,
lovely. I think we all want to see the photo now of the snow owl.
yeah, I'll find it. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I imagine it's white.
Yes, white, gray, and actually sort of what I'm wearing today, shades of gray and white and light. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if it's like the snowy owl for Hedwig from Harry Potter.
I read books, and in the books were no pictures, so not so many pictures. So sorry, don't know.
Great.
I think definitely Hedwig.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out with your picture if you find it. Lovely. So we've got people here from Croatia, Germany, more Germany, Sweden, uh, France. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Great. And yeah, so today we are going to introduce cultural emergence and how it can support you. And we're going to play with the cards, and we'll have a bit of time in breakout rooms as well with the three of us. So yeah, that's great. So maybe I'll start with the origin story of cultural emergence, which I know some of you will have heard before, and and also every time I tell it, it's slightly different. So there's little bits of detail that come out for me as well when I retell the story. So I need to sort of go back into the back beyond before. Oh, coming in. Back before Cultural Emergence, when I was involved in permaculture, and when I was starting to teach permaculture, someone said to me once, "Oh, we have all the tools we need for major earth repair." And it's like, we already have all those tools that we need. And it's like, okay, well, why is that not happening then? And then when we look at why it's not happening, it's down to us as people, and down to our own everything from our own personal patterns, our energy patterns, to relationship dynamics, to the policies and the international politics and all of those dynamics, and community decision making. So it seemed then, it's like, well, okay, if we turn our attention to people care and improve our people care skills, if that's the limit, then in permaculture design we turn it around into a need and a design opportunity. So if we improve our people care skills, then we have the chance to overcome that limit and then implement all these widespread, these earth care and earth repair tools that we already have. And so that led me to writing People and Permaculture, which came out then in 2012, so over a decade ago now. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but it is. And it helped launch the social permaculture movement, which, like, it wasn't even a term when I wrote that. And it was still felt like permaculture was still confined both from within and without, the myth of permaculture just being about land-based design. So I was kind of looking to expand that and kind of ground that, shall we say, and like really sort of root the possibility of the people care skills becoming more widespread. And then I came into collaboration with John Young from the States. Wave your hand if you've heard of him. Few people, but not everyone. He's a deep nature connection specialist, and he's been mentored from the age of 10, well, and before that as well. And he kind of came to this question of why aren't all cultures connected to nature? What's going on there, and how do we do some cultural repair so that all cultures do become connected to nature? Because surely to get to this stage in evolution, they would have had to have been that way and have lost it somewhere on the way. So it's something that we can re-find if it was lost. And through that collaboration, then we came up with cultural emergence as a framing and I don't like to use the word branding, but yeah, the framing and the naming and framing of my work. And then it evolved with collaboration with John's work and the nature connection in there. And it was looking at design and then systems thinking and cultural awareness and the nature connection, and weaving all that together into an amazing toolkit. Emma and Barbara, do you want to say something at this moment? While I just want to pull up the Cultural Emergence vision and mission, but do you want to, one of you, step in for a moment while I find that and just share something? Emma.
I will share something. I was clicking in the background. So it's within the Cultural Emergence whole sphere, it's a growing movement across the world. Lots of people are using it in different ways. So from this beginning, so that Luby brought together in the book and into the CEED Deck. Did you mention that yet? She was definitely, yeah. Ruby has also created from the book. Once we were looking at those principles and bringing them down, lots of people kept going, "Oh, it'd be great if some of these were in cards. We could use them in groups." And Luby was already using them in groups, so took the principles, the practices of cultural emergence, and the design web, which is another thing we'll talk about, and distilled them into this beautiful card deck here, where you can actually draw them. And some of you have used them, and lots of us know that using cards is a really quick route into that information. So the book is packed with loads of amazing information, and this is a really easy way of tapping into that. And also, there's a number of courses that go with it as well. Maybe it's bringing a book. Still looking for the picture. Did you talk about the 3 phases? Were you about to do that?
Not yet. I will read the I can't find it on my computer, sorry to do that. I'm looking for the vision.
Vision and the mission.
Yeah, the vision and the mission, which here, okay, I'm going to read it because I have it on a visual, but it's eluding me at this moment on my computer. So the cultural emergence vision is to accelerate global cultural transformation towards a peaceful, connected world, to bring people and planet into alignment for a positive, regenerative future. And that's a vision I think that many of us share. Many of us are wanting, there's a heart longing in there, isn't there, for that regenerative future, for the future generations, and for the present time. We're really longing for it, but not necessarily knowing how to get there, but we're longing for it. I think I'm sure many of you resonate with that. And the thing that I find fascinating is when you have a vision, to trace back and think, well, what is my mission? What is the thing that I can do that makes that vision more possible? So it takes it from this kind of longing in the future that we don't quite know how to get to this present moment now of like, what can I find to do that motivates me, that makes me feel like I am contributing, I have purpose, and is helpful to get to that vision. So from that big vision that we had, we grounded that in the mission, or to create a profoundly effective toolkit to challenge and awaken, move and invigorate, nourish and empower individuals, groups, and communities to bring us into a state of fertile cultural emergence. So that was our mission, to create a toolkit. And as I've said, that's what we then did with me writing the book, and then creating the CEED Deck. So the tools are, it's the same tools in different forms here, and there it's like, okay, well, we've done that mission now. What's the next mission? And from this, Cultural Emergence came out in 2020, and then lots of people have been using it around the world. I know some of you here have already been using it a lot, and some new maybe. And then it was like, okay, the next mission is actually to create networks of change makers, networks of people using the toolkit, so that we reinforce what we know, reinforce community, share knowledge between us, and build strength in the movement. And this has led us to, well, running the courses, which we'll talk about a bit more in a moment, but also to running the collective, to having this ongoing community of practice. So, Barbara, do you want to? I've shared now what the mission is, that's led us to setting up the collective. But would you like to share more about what we're hoping to do, what we are doing? Let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I like about this collective is that it is a group of people from all different styles, types of change makers, permaculture people, mothers, nature connection people, forest school, um, and yeah, the tools, the toolkit, the cards, for instance, give us the same language to speak about. And so what we are doing now is so Emma and I have been picking a card a week or every 2 weeks, and then we thought, oh, you know what? Let's record ourselves when we speak about how we use the cards, and we've been posting that in the community. So yeah, we use the toolkit and ask each other questions and see how we can bring out storytelling, how we can yeah, inspire each other to use the cards in maybe ways that we didn't think of yet. I will see if I can remember in a bit what I used the card a few days ago. I thought, man, yeah, that's the card I picked today, and it gave me the courage to do something I would normally not do. But I stepped out of my comfort zone because I picked one card that morning. I thought, let's just do it, and yeah, it gave a good
Come into the light or be
yeah, but
encouraged.
I can't. I made notes. But where did I make the notes and which card was it? I will remember later, hopefully. So
Emma, do you want to say some more about the collective?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're hoping through that is when people are storytelling and saying, well, I've used that, like Barbara saying, I got the card today and I used it and it inspired me to do that. By sharing those stories, every time we hear another story, we're like, oh, I could do that. And when we have our courses and they're fantastic and they give you loads of information, and then you need to go away and have that self-motivation to use it and put it into practice and keep using it, because that's what practice is. It's you use it lots, and having a group of other like-minded people there together doing the same things and showing, oh, I did this today, or I did that today, or this is what my reflection. It helps keeping to renew those learnings and renew those practices and those principles and those techniques that are there. And oh, they used it in their school. They did a round at the beginning of their session to plan a new garden, or someone's like, oh, I took it and I used this for nature connection and I had these experiences. So instead of just getting that 2 weeks or a weekend or 2 months of inspiration, it's a constant little reminders to keep you going in there. And also we have these live calls that we're in today. You're in one of them today. And it's a moment for that interpersonal connection in our disconnected society, our unintact communities. We don't get enough time to talk to people, and we'd hope we'd have that where we are. And when you're really passionate about something new, it's really good to share that with the same people who are passionate about the same thing. Sometimes you might have this little flame of like, oh, I'm really loving it, and you tell your story to the wrong person, and that kind of dampens it down again, and you tell it to the right person and you're like, oh yeah, yes, I like this and I like that, and you start to bounce, and it kind of gets this upward spiral of practice and principle and engagement. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about it, and we're hoping we'll have in the future, as we have more people in there, some guilds of practice where people who are doing the same thing will talk together. So forest school leaders and those, maybe there's ones who are leading Mother Nature circles, there's quite a few is in there, or people are doing like nature connection and actually using it out in the world and sharing that and talking about those things, which is really exciting. Yeah, had another thing to say, but I can't. And we also it's a place for us to share what we're up to as well. So there's like a notice board in the collective where you say, I'm doing this, come to my thing. Helpful if it's online, but even if it's in person, some people end up living in the same area and being able to share about what we're doing and going, oh yeah, I could do that too, and being inspired by the way to do that. So yeah, gonna hand back to you now, Luby.
Yeah, thank you. And this is all part of the Cultural Emergence Going Global design, and there's many other threads that are happening with that, including the translation of the CEED Deck into different languages. I was thinking of that when you said you might end up living near people, and I think that will happen more and more as there's a couple of people here from Germany, and it's like, oh yeah, but connecting up and experiencing it in your own language as well. So I was going to show you I know we're doing quite a bit of talking at the moment, but we will then go into breakout rooms, so we'll have more of a chance to share in groups. But we're setting the scene for you all. So here is, can you see the mandala? Yeah, great. So well, I read the mission. Our mission is to create a profoundly effective toolkit to challenge and awaken, move and invigorate, nourish and empower. So those challenge and awaken, move and invigorate, and nourish and empower are the three phases of cultural emergence, and you'll see them here, and they correspond then to the three courses, the three modules of cultural emergence. So the ACE course looks at the challenge and awaken phase, which is where we start awakening to possibilities and revealing to ourselves our own personal culture and are deepening our understanding of what culture is and systems thinking and yeah, introducing ourselves to all of these concepts. And then we have the move and invigorate phase, which is then the design adventure, which looks at the design web as a framework, which I created. Here it is, it's on the cover of People and Permaculture handily, which is a whole system for designing change in our lives, in our communities. And so moves and invigorates us. It provides us with pathways of change forward. And then we have the nourish and empower phase, which is the peace, empowerment and cultural emergence course. And this is deeply based on John's work of connection practices, so nature connection, how we connect with other people, how we use our creativity and surface gifts. And yes, there's the yummy phase there, and we need all three phases to come into balance to so they're the balanced family within the CEED deck. And it's like, how do we negotiate our lives so that we can bring those phases into balance, so we don't go into overwhelm or burnout, so we can have sustainable change and an effective change in our lives, and how we can use that in relationship with other people as well. So those are the three phases. Emma and Barbara, do you want to say something about those phases and how they've supported you? And then we'll go into the breakout rooms, and maybe we can talk in the breakout rooms about how those phases reflect upon those phases in our lives at the moment.
Yeah, I can tell very briefly. For me, it was really an eye-opener when in I think it was back in 2017 that I went to a facilitator training in Applewood with Luby, and then she told us about cultural emergence, and then she said, yeah, you can choose the culture that you want to have in a yeah, among each other. And until that moment, I just I never thought of it. It was just, yeah, culture is something that is happening around you, but that you can create it or bring it up to the surface and let people choose. Hey, how do you want to be together? That was for me such a eye opener and amazing concept, and I use that in the courses that I give now always. And also I use it also with volunteers. When we get new groups of volunteers here, one of the first things we do is set our group culture. And Peter and I, my husband and I, noticed that when we forget or when people slip in through other ways, it goes wrong. Something is off. We really notice, hey, if we don't bring out the values that how we want to be together, then yeah, something goes wrong there. So yeah. Oh, that was just the challenge and awaken one. Maybe up to Emma to tell about her experience.
I'll talk about move and invigorate when you're coming from that moment of like, oh, we need to do something. This is there. I'm aware of this situation. What am I going to do? And the move and invigorate phase is that phase when you're really working on to create those projects or that change or those cultures and the lifestyle. And within that was learning to use the design web, which Luby created when she wrote People and Permaculture, and it created People and Permaculture, and People and Permaculture writing created the design web. And that's a system of design to take it, but it's holistic design. It puts the thing that really blew my mind when I first learned about it was that designs are not something that exist out of you and your body and your person and the world you're in. You're actually in the middle of the design. The person who does the design and creates it and does it is executed by humans, and you're the human in the middle of it. So really bringing your own personal patterns and cultures into that and exploring how you can make those changes. Not everything is, it's not an assumption that everything is broken, but we often things don't work when we don't want them to, and trying to explore how you can make those changes to not have those blocks, to not have those parts. I'm full of ideas, and sometimes completion's not great. So one of the principles I love is beauty and completion, and that you release energy when you complete something, not when you leave it half done. And that design web really helped me to bring that together, and we've used it lots for like designing just my day or the week or the year, or also designing projects. I've used it for all sorts of different things, and collaboratively as well. We just did one, well, we've been working on one, Barbara and Luby and I, for the Cultural Emergence Collective, and using that to create our group cultures, create what we want to do, knowing what our patterns are, knowing what principles and energy we want to bring into that project. So it's so useful being in having a really practical tool you can use when you're in that phase. So you're not just going, well, I want to do something. It's like bringing it back down to something that's held in a container. And the other thing about the phases of cultural emergence is you can't, as you've been saying before, you can't, if you don't live in a balance of them, you burn yourself out. So being in the nourish and empower, when you really actually look at like self-care and using nature connection for that, but also people care, that real, the gentle, like helping other people to surface their gifts. The whole purpose of cultural emergence isn't for you to do everything on your own, it's to help other people to be empowered. With the nourish and empower phase is to give them the chance to step into their skills, into their light and their power, to be able to go out and move back into the move and invigorate phase. And yeah, getting out, learning about nature connection, and with Luby and John Long and Leona Johnson has also brought things I already did, but gave them a framework I didn't have before, and a way of relating it and deepening in that and growing in those tools. So it's one of those ones that just, even, we started this morning, we were all sharing gratitude, and we were sharing about our nature connection stories, and that's part of that nourish and empower phase, using those reflective tools to bring nature into your lives and to use that to support you, because there's lots of things we need in the world, but that's something that's free. You don't have to pay for nature, to be in nature, wherever it is, however unglamorous it is or beautiful it is. It's free for us to access. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So we are going to go now into breakout rooms, and yeah, that's fine if you need to leave. I let me just rebalance the breakout rooms. Yeah, thank you for joining, and we will go into breakout rooms and think about how that balances, those phases balance for ourselves, and we'll be picking some cards in the breakout rooms as well. So each breakout room will have either me, Emma, or Barbara in it as well. So we'll have till the top of the hour, whenever that top of the hour, whatever hour of the day that is for you. So any questions before we go into breakout rooms? Okay. Okay. Well, we've lost a couple of people, but okay, off we go now.
yeah.
with our groups. So welcome back from the breakout rooms. I know we will hear back from the groups of what we talked about, but I'll just finish. We had because we had just picked the principle of allowing for the possibility of the seemingly impossible, and I was reading it out. Give voice to your heart's desire, widen parameters of possibility, stay engaged with searching for solutions. Yeah. Do you have a reflection on that, Stella, you'd like to share? And maybe, yeah, you could share your question if you want to, but you don't have to.
Yeah, my question was, how can I bring cultural emergence into my life? And I guess with the answer, allow for the possibility of the seemingly impossible, I just get the encouragement that I needed in order to pursue the path, and just feel empowered. So that's a great answer, giving me hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Yeah. Well, I expect to see you more now that you're on the cultural emergence path. Wonderful, wonderful. Emma or Barbara, do you want anything? If there's any loose ends, or if there's, and then
Um,
maybe we'll hear back from the groups.
yeah, no, we were in nice conversations about how to bring cultural emergence into your life or into your design process through visioning, many other tools. So no, we were not in the middle of something. We were good.
We were just having a conversation about surfacing gifts. I picked that card. We picked that card, and talking about we've been talking about how you can surface other people's gifts, but also how we surface our own gifts and the value that the wider culture and society puts on us if we're not going to be stood at front of a classroom teaching people, or at the front of a campaign, or at the front of something. How our creativity and those other gifts have got just as much place in supporting it, and finding how we can use that and communicate it. So it was, yeah, a really interesting conversation about, I guess it's that extension of leadership, that it isn't about being at the front and about creating change and supporting those different cultures, is about, yeah, and how important creativity in those, yeah, art or documenting, recording, those things are just as important as being at the front telling and supporting everyone to do things. Yeah.
Yeah, there's many different ways of being part of the solution, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, definitely. Is there anyone else that would like to share something, a nugget of wisdom or or insight that they had in their breakout rooms?
Yeah, I can. I really liked Barbara's response to the question, what is kind of the difference between the group diploma adventure and the learning guilds in that, and this. Teresa and I love that. I mean, Barbara said the GDA is more about doing the designs and learning how to do that. And this collective is about the being and how to integrate cultural emergence into being. So I thought that was maybe you could put it in your FAQ or something, because I bet it's a question many people have, like what's the addition or what's the difference with all the other courses. So that was great.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll borrow that and and share that. This is, yeah, it is the collective. I do see it as this way of so the courses, you learn the tools, and then with the collective it's like, how do you really embed them and integrate them into your life, and then ripple them out from there. So yeah, really the being of it. And it's good to have the background of the courses, and within the collective, that we give you the design adventure for designing your year ahead, so that you can get familiar with that as well, and then embed it tool by tool and revisiting, because I think that's it's interesting. We have 3 different breakout rooms and all of us use different tools within that. Any other reflections from the breakout rooms? Christine, you look like you might be poised to speak, or am I? No?
I really enjoyed the storytelling, to hear the stories of the other people in my breakout room. It was so inspiring and so, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. And so I'm pretty sure that this feeling will stick with me the rest of the day. And that is for me a big reason to be part of this collective, to have this, oh, yeah, 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 feeling more often.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It just kind of lifts you up just a little bit each time, and it's like, oh yes, and just keeps that energy topped up, and that feeling of connection, and that we're not alone in this crazy world that we live in. Yes. And I really liked so Laura's part of the group Diploma Adventure as well, and you posted recently, Laura, about coming off Facebook and Instagram, and I'm kind of thinking the same, and thinking about using the circle space as that way of connecting with people, and the things that I kind of like to go to Facebook for is just seeing what's happening with real people, which actually I don't think either Facebook or Instagram do that much for me anymore, with the algorithms. But to actually go onto the circle space and be like, oh yeah, okay, I know Laura, and she's made a comment, I can comment back, and then Barbara joins in with the conversation, and so it's like having conversations with the people we know are in, interested in the same things and exploring the same things as we are. Shall we? Oh, Emma, do you want to go? And then I was thinking we could pick some cards.
Yeah, I just had one more reflection in our breakout room. We were talking about how cultural emergent feels in our body, that it's not just a head thing, that we have like a physical nervous system response when you hear those principles or the phases or the way of using it and bringing those different cultures in. Our body's like, oh yeah, that's what I want, some more of that. I can feel my yeah, and how important is that part of those intuitive places, that we don't just exist in our brain, that when we're on doing the right thing or we're hearing the right thing, our bodies are going, yeah, come on, it's good. So like Barbara says, those feelings, those good emotions, part of the studies that say if you have a good time, that good time stays with you, even if you can't remember what it is, that you had a good time or you had a good thing or a good thing happened to you. Yeah, it stays energetically with you for several hours, which is useful.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is really important to because also we can get caught up with, oh my God, there's so many tools. How do I learn them all? And it isn't about learning them all, it's about experiencing them all and getting connected, as you say, in our bodies. And when I wrote Cultural Emergence, we had been doing several courses and building the toolkit before that, but I did a lot of the writing in 2020, and as you all know, that was the time of a global cultural emergence. It was all shifting and changing, and I really felt that the toolkit was an important way of providing a map of change, and that we are in a world that is changing. There is no doubt about that, and I don't think anyone thinks that the world that we live in now will be the same in 5 years' time. It will have changed. And so the Cultural Emergence Toolkit gives us a way of navigating those changes, both on a personal level. I'm moving house, how do I move in? And as Barbara said, with the new group there, it was the same for ourselves. If we move house, move jobs or something, that we start a new culture. And it's like, oh, how do we actually recognize that that is what we're doing, and then be proactive in it and in steering it in the direction we would like it to go in. So, this is a map of change on those personal changes, but also on a wider collective change of like what's happening in the world. How do we navigate this? How do we take it into that phrase, that state of fertile cultural emergence? Because the cultural emergence, the emergent properties can be quite destructive, but we want to take it into a fertile place, a positive regenerative place. And yeah, there's I maybe won't go down that rabbit hole too much, but just to say we don't always know whether something is fertile or destructive. Like if we look at compost, it might look like a really destructive, decomposing mess, but actually it leads us to fertility. And maybe that's where we are in the world at the moment. We're in that decomposing state that it all looks like a really smelly, putrid mess. And it's like, how could this possibly be helpful? But maybe it will lead to fertile growth in other places if we know how to learn from it and use it well.
That's the cultural emergence is the extra carbon matter being added to the badly composting mess to make it grow, be better, fertile.
Yeah.
To continue that metaphor.
Worms.
Yeah.
The worms and the
It fills them
microbes.
with worms. Yeah.
Yeah. We might have to work on that metaphor slightly.
Gives me a new way to think about where I live in Earthworm Housing Co-op.
Yeah.
Now, maybe now I get why it's called that after 13 years.
Lovely. So I'm going to pick oh no, I'm not going to pick. I'm going to share a spread of the principles, which I did in my breakout room as well, and invite any of you to ask a question of the cards. And you might need to just and pick a card where you don't need to share the question if you don't want to, but you can if you'd like to. And I can't see everyone with the screen sharing, so unmute and share which one, and hopefully I'll be able to find the card. Or one of us will. Who would like to pick a card? Well, I mean, everyone can pick a number, and then we'll go. Laura, do you want to go first and pick a?
Yes, sure. I have a question. How do I wish to be a change maker? Because I really liked that question that just posted, and I'm very intrigued by the number. Oh my goodness. Oh, 16, I think.
Okay, maybe share the image with me because I can't
The
read it.
bird. The bird.
Okay, great. And that
I
now,
get,
now it's a
I've got
race
it here.
between
It
those.
was
Well done, well done, Emma. You
twin.
won.
It says presence
Woo!
presence in the process, gain clarity about the process, observe what is actually happening right now, lose attachment to outcomes, soar on life's thermals.
Do you
That
want to
was
read it
good.
one more time, Emma, and then
Yeah.
maybe
Presence in the
Oh, yeah.
process,
Okay.
gain clarity about the process, observe what is actually happening right now, lose attachment to outcomes, soar on life's thermals.
Thanks.
Yeah.
what did that bring up with you, Laura?
Oh, well, I've been actually been in that trying to change or already changing from there being trying to be very fixed in a role in my former work, very fixed and fixed tasks and lots of planning into let it go with the flow, let emergence happen and create space for that. So I love this. Be present in the process and feel the process, and through that feeling finding out what my role can be. It doesn't have to be a fixed one or like the previous one. Yeah, very supportive card, of course.
Yeah, thank you. And I was the phrase that struck out to me then in relation to your question was like losing attachment to outcomes. So not being fixed on like I'm doing this to get there, but but to be in the process and and allowing it to unfold.
Definitely. Great, thanks.
Let's share them again. Who would like to go next? Christine, would you like to pick a card?
But including a question?
Or yeah, if you don't have a question in mind, that's fine. You can just pick a card and see what comes.
Well, I guess one of the, I said it in the breakout rooms, one of my main questions at the moment is, how to, on the one hand, sort of marry the need to earn some money with really doing what you want to do in life. And, I find myself in the situation at the moment that either I'm doing something for money, which I don't like, or I don't find a possibility of earning money with the things I would like to do. So I do like the thing about the number 12 with the sun cycle and moon cycle.
Lovely. I have that to hand because we had that in this one. Yeah. So this is synchronized with natural patterns and cycles. We picked this one as well. Surf the waves of waxing and waning. Follow your own needs. Notice the flows of days and seasons. So surfing the waves of waxing and waning. Follow your own needs and notice the flows of days and seasons.
Can I add a card for Christine? Because I was thinking, tend to your own personal culture, which is also such a lovely one. Tend to your own personal culture, become a conscious culture creator, weed out negative conditioning, water healthy habits, and you are a cross-pollinator between cultures. So I thought that one might also be applicable.
How have they landed with you, Christine? They're not maybe as quite as giving you the answer as you maybe hope.
Well, I think on the one hand, it's a sort of encouragement, maybe in certain ways, to trust more that if I follow my own needs and desires and enthusiasm, that
Oh, I think we've lost
opportunities
Christine there.
I can pay the bill. Fear. Oops. Sorry,
Great, we lost you. We lost you for a moment, but I think you were saying
I think I did
about
have
following
quite
your
incredible
own
internet
needs.
connection. So on the one hand, this trust that something might emerge if I actually follow my desires and needs. But it's still paired with this sort of huge fear of, how do I pay the bills? So maybe, just also in terms of needs, I mean, there is a sort of financial need. So taking things step by step. So actually making sure that those needs of what I would like to do are sort of better met than always pushed aside because I'm thinking, oh, I have to earn money, etc.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this one with like the ebbs and flows and waxing and waning of like rather than an either or, a kind of flow between the two that might then end up flowing more in the direction of where you want to go, but not a hard either or, but just gently bringing the flow more in the direction you want it to be in. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you. Stella, do you want to pick another card to go with your allowing for the possibility of the seemingly impossible?
Okay, hi. Yeah, let me just remember what my question was that I wanted to ask. Oh yeah, I wanted to know what the next possible step could be in allowing for the possibility of the seemingly impossible. And
yeah, you were talking about bringing cultural emergence into your life in school.
That's true. I think I'd like to pick number 9 because it's my lucky number.
And I can't actually read the numbers. It's a bit of a design flaw
it's
here.
It's the top row, the card that's almost on the right, the one that's
the sun.
Yeah, the sun with the arrows, the 4 arrows around it.
Okay, now it's competition time between the 3 of us who found it first.
Yeah, it's always the last card, so you should start at the end.
I
Come into the light. I found it. I won.
Yeah, well done.
Every time. I always want to. It says, come into the light. Look below the surface. Be bold. Listen to quiet voices. Bring your gifts into the light.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, look below the surface. Be bold. Listen to quiet voices. Bring your gifts into the light.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Look below the surface.
It's like both of those cards were really like expansive for you, weren't they? They're like, come on, let's go.
I like the bottom one, the bring your gifts into the light. Like that's I like that bit.
An invitation to soar.
Yeah.
Okay, it just needs someone to kick my ass.
Or the collective to support the growth, maybe a different way of phrasing that. Yeah. Were there any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on reflections on those cards, Stella?
Yeah. I feel like I need to be courageous about things more. And that feels very bold. And so this is interesting to me, but it's also there's tension. So I'm like, So the invitation is one that I hopefully dare to accept. And so, but I do appreciate the process. I really like the answers, and so I just need to ponder them and include them into my flow of actually working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the answers don't always come immediately, but maybe later in the day or later in the week, you'll be like, oh, or this opportunity to come into the light, or the opportunity, Christine, for like the synchronizing with natural patterns and cycles, that principle will come up again, and you'll be like, oh yeah, actually that's helping me go this way rather than that way. Lovely.
I'll just share what I have. I was going to share that I pick a principle every week to be like part of my company for the week that I have up there, and every time it brings more. I got use emergence to support emergence, and one of the questions, ask questions that bring more questions. All week I've been trying to ask more questions than answer them.
Lovely. Tracy, I see you're in a car now, but do you want to pick a number and we can but if you can't do that, you
Yes.
I was just writing because I need to go. I have a meeting at school for my son. Um, but Barbara picked a card when we were in the breakout room for visionary because we were talking about vision and manifestation and things like that. So I think that one suits very well for me. I don't really have a question right now. I yeah, nothing pops to my mind and I'm a little bit stressed right now. So, but as I wrote, I will with that card, I will take that with me until we meet next time and really see how vision works and manifestation works. I don't know what it says on the back of that card, but maybe someone can just quickly
You got
tell
that,
me.
Barbara?
Yes, visioning. Dream big. Allow yourself to dwell in long distance time frames. Ask yourself, what would you like to happen, not what you think is possible,
Mm,
and articulate your vision to others.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we spoke about. That if you articulate it, if you make it clear that
Mm,
things will happen.
yeah. And it certainly has. I mean, yeah, I told them about the story of like how I bought the farm, like we bought the farm this summer, and I've been visioning for a community of this sort that we can create now at this farm for like, I don't know, 5 years now, maybe. And yeah, it's just amazing how, and if you also just step away from it a little bit, just not push it too much or pull it too much, you just surrender to it and just, okay, it will happen. I feel that it will come into place, but right now is not the time. But and as I said, like patience has been the most hard part, I think, for those years. And yeah, I just really liked that card and it was a good card. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that patience and not pulling too hard, but getting that balance between staying committed to the vision without
Mm,
without that kind of like pull it.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. And
the
also realizing
balance.
if you're pushing something too hard, it's like maybe it's not meant to be right now, or maybe it's not meant to be. It's like maybe I shouldn't push too far. Maybe I should just, yeah. So it's a good lesson and a good thing. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And thank you very much. I need to go now, but
Yeah.
it's been amazing to be with you today, and I look forward to next time.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah.
You,
Bye.
Therese. Bye.
So we have Rick. You picked a card earlier, but would you like to pick another one or talk about the one that you picked earlier? You're muted.
Sort of expand my question to quite broad, really, but how to be and where to be to live meaningfully and happily in a, well, at best uncertain future, at worst catastrophic future. And so the number 6, which is the 2 question marks, that sort of seems to emerge from those 2 questions quite nicely.
Yeah, lovely. Well, I know that Emma, you've got that one to hand because that's the one you picked for the week. So I'll pass over to you.
I like that because I've had the text out all week. So this one is use emergence to support emergence. Answers are revealed as stories unfold. Do what can be done now. Emergent properties provide springboards and create snowball effects. Ask questions that bring more questions. I'll read it a second time. Use emergence to support emergence. Answers are revealed as stories unfold. Do what can be done now. Emergent properties provide springboards and create snowball effects. Ask questions that bring more questions.
So it was a big question that you asked, Rick. living in these uncertain times. Um, and yeah, I think that question really, or that principle really speaks to that. What does that resonate with you?
Well, there are things that I don't really, in those answers, don't really understand as yet what that means. And some of it is sort of happening, yes, just waiting, because there's no urgency. Where we are is okay, waiting for answers to kind of reveal themselves. And very much doing what can be done now. But I feel at some point a decision needs to follow of like, okay, where are we going and what are we going to do? So yes, an emergence from the current sort of non-committal state needs to happen, I feel.
Or visioning. Can I interrupt with
Yes, please.
link to the previous card or visioning? My story with visioning is I had the same thoughts as you, and I thought, man, where's this world going? Well, let's create the world that I want. So one day, my husband and I said to each other, let's grow a village. We live totally remote, middle of nowhere, middle of a forest, and the old people around are all dying, and we thought, let's create a village. So I made a permaculture design for it, and the first people that now stepped into our village is a Belgian couple from Brussels, and the second couple is about to step in, and there are more people interested. And this was such a wild idea. Let's create a village in the middle of nowhere of Croatia with our values, how we want to live our life in freedom. It was so far away, but now, a few years later, it is happening. So yeah, there's always hope. That's what I wanted to add.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think at I did have a tagline actually for Cultural Emergence at one point, which of Cultural Emergence Toolkit as messages of tools for empowerment and messages of hope. Because with emergence, we don't know what will come, and we can't predict it. We can just support it to go in the direction that we would like it to go in, and that's it will get what gives me hope when I look at the news and the state of the world. It's like and it's like, okay, but we don't know what will come. We don't know what will emerge through our collective wisdom and how we can turn things around, because I know from my own life, from my own being, that deep transformation is very possible, and that we can do that on a collective level as well. So it's a message of hope. Yeah, well, thank you all for joining today. I think Emma's going to put some links in the chat for how to stay connected with us. I mean, obviously, we've got a newsletter which would put out, and then we've got the free Cultural Emergence Taster course to dip your toes in, and then the other courses of the ACE. Maybe I'll put the mandala up again. Do you see the mandala? So we've got the ACE course, which we do both online, where you can enroll anytime, or in person here at Applewood over a weekend in May. And then we've got the design adventures, which you can dip your toes in and design your year ahead or even your week ahead. And then we've also got that is also included in the collective. If you want to just go for it and be part of the collective and be part of this supportive community. And then we've got the Peace course, which is a week here at Applewood, the Peace Deep Dive in June, which is just a beautiful time of nature connection and around the fire and feeling empowered, being definitely. Yes, so there's many ways you can stay connected with us, stay connected with the movement, and help to just grow these people that are using the tools from around the world and spread those messages of hope and ripple out into the world. It'd be nice to, if you want to put in the chat something you're taking away from this call, or something you're a next step for yourself. And I'll hand over to Barbara and then Emma to close us out. So, Barbara?
Yeah, I was just starting to enthusiastically type in what I'm taking away from this call. Inspiration, for sure. Hope as well. And good energy. It's nice to connect to people who want a better world. So thank you all for all your inspiration and hope and connection. Emma.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you all here and to have people who are gathered at all different points on using cultural emergence, but also in bringing change into their life or new possibilities and visioning in that, and to see us from, from one end to the other and being on that thing that it's not all of cultural emergence, although it might feel like it's a linear process, or I'm going to do this and then I'll get here and there and here and there. Actually, it's not a linear process. It's a cyclical one. It's where the inspiration takes you. It's a seasonal one. It's a moment. It's a different place. So you can move between those places. When we started at the beginning talking about moving between those different phases of cultural emergence. And so I'm just coming away with just this big swimming in cultural emergence together, moving between those different bits, and how much I enjoy that, and hearing all your reflections on the cards. Yeah, thank you everybody, and do join us in the collective, where it's just a real place to get inspiration and talk to people, and begin with designing your year ahead.
Yeah, thank you everyone. I really enjoyed the thinking about the collective as a place of being, and I would also add to that a being and I can't think of quite the grammar of it, but the supportive, being part of the support, and so being and feeling supported, feeling hopeful, feeling connected. Wonderful. Thank you all for joining, and and thank you everyone that's listened to a recording. And we'll stop the recording now, but we'll stay around for a while if anyone wants to chat some more. And otherwise, see you around the Zoom fire at some point. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.